Oh, hey, good morning, 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Hope you're doing well. I had a stressful week last week. I haven't been on the air since the end of January, I think 28th. How many days is that? That's been a while. Well, today's the 7th, so that's 6. Well, 7, 8 days, 9 days. Hope you're doing well. I had a rough week last week, to be honest with you. I wasn't in the mood to do online things, and I had an electrician in here, and I had to get up when the lights came on in the morning so I could see what I was doing and finish prepping the house. So the electrician can wire all the house up. So it was a busy week. And yeah, I didn't get enough of it done on the weekends because other things came up and really wasn't sure what we wanted to do with the house until I started stripping stuff down and getting down to the final stages where we said, yeah, we're not doing that. We're doing this. We're not going to do that. And changing on the fly. Very agile. Very agile, very stressful. Anyway, so it's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Oh, what are we going to talk about today? I go to this whole thing, and I didn't say anything about what we're going to talk about today. Waiting does not add value. So I had a great conversation with a person who's acts as a Scrum Master sometimes. It's not always a Scrum Master, but someone I'm coaching. And we're talking about, and they're asking questions about the waiting column on a Scrum board. So we had a great conversation. I always ask challenging questions. Maybe I'm not your typical Agile coach, but I'd like to ask the questions to make them think. Yes, I know what my thought is, but then I want them to ask them a question to see where we're going. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to ask you questions about that. Maybe you can give us feedback. And I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master, Agile Coach. This is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, and we talk about Scrum and Agile in a practical and tactical way. And maybe later I'll talk about some trust things that I've been going through with what I'm doing, and I'll share them later, but not today. Anyway, and not with my family. So it's work related. And we do this so you don't stress out, get value to your customer, and get home to family and friends. So you can enjoy some time and not worry about some things. But I don't know, we always worry about stuff anyhow. So waiting doesn't add value. I'm just going to say that. All right. Maybe that's not the good coaching way, but this is, our show and what we talk about. Well, you should ask questions, Greg. Ask powerful questions. Why do you do that? So I always got the question. I've gotten the question for past 8 years, really. And more, I develop a better answer. To be honest with you, the answer is better. So maybe this answer is good. You can let me know. So people ask me, should we have a waiting step in the Kanban board? Should we have a waiting step in the Scrum board, right? Like a waiting that anytime we wait for something from somebody, we just put it in the waiting column. I'm going to go through a couple advantages, disadvantages, some thought process to think about as you go to design this. So, simplest thing. Let's talk UI. How much space do you really have on the screen or on your board to create these waiting steps? Now, I know in Kanban, and I do this, like a lot of times I have less testers than I have developers. So, I do create a waiting for testing, or sometimes I'm waiting for PO. It depends on what your definition is. A lot of times I do create a waiting for testing column on my boards, and that way we know who's actually doing testing versus having a bunch of things piling up in the waiting for testing column. And when that happens, then developers can go over there and help test stuff, right? If the developers think you're testing everything, they don't think there's any need for them to go over in the testing area to help you test stuff. What happens, right? Because they think you're doing it, but you're not really, because it's really waiting for someone to free up their time to test it. So that's the one case where I say a waiting column is okay. I think it's actually beneficial, to be honest with you, because it shows off the bottleneck. You don't have enough testers, or something's wrong with what you're doing, or you're waiting to the last minute. Lots of things. But the waiting column, does it add value to the customer? Does it add value to the process? The answer, in my opinion, you can probably guess what my opinion is. I don't think it adds value at all. But ask yourself, is it adding value? Does it add value to your process, having a waiting step? Or is it really a symptom of having other problems? Right? Probably a symptom of other problems. And Does it bring attention, or is it the placeholder to die in? I like that one. I wrote that one too. It's like, so you build this waiting column, and when you wait for stuff, we just put it all in the waiting column. And I said, well, do you work it? No, it's in the waiting column. Well, who's working it? Nothing. So it's really not in an attention because you don't cap it out. You do like in Kanban, right? You're supposed to whip limits in there. So do you put a whip limit in your waiting? Is it 2? If it's 2, then you're working it. Okay, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But is there a whip limit? If there's no whip limit and you have a waiting column, then you got it wrong. I'm going to tell you outright it's wrong. It's just, you can argue with me all day long. Try it. Give me an argument why it makes sense. I would love to hear all these Scrum Masters who build these waiting columns to argue with me how it adds value, how putting a wait column makes their process go better, right? And all these boards, no matter what it is, Azure, Jira, version, they all have it where you can right click on the issue thing, or you can use stickers on it. If we're back in the office, on a whiteboard, on a Kanban board, you can put a little sticker on it and make that says it's impeded or flagged or delayed or blocked, right? It changes color. So it's a 3-dimensional view on your screen. It comes out to it's yellow, right? So that warns you don't need a waiting column, and that's from a UI perspective. They did that so you didn't have to create another column. And when they developed their customer experience with that, they did that to give you a 3-dimensional view. So you have your data. The yellow ones are the ones that draw your attention because something's wrong. It needs attention and needs help. And that's why it's there, right? If it's in another column, does that really grab your attention? Does that make you as a team or a Scrum Master or a manager want to go fix that, right? If it's yellow and sticking out and blocking you from taking any more work in your testing column, or blocking you from taking any more work in your development column, that's going to get your attention, right? So if you have a development column that's capped at 5 and a whip, and 4 of them are in waiting status, all bells and whistles should go off. There's no ability to bring more work in. You say, well, we're waiting for stuff. Well, then I would challenge you. Why the hell did you take the work in the first process if it wasn't ready? So I got to go back to my daytime job, but I just wanted to come online and say hello. I am still alive. Nothing medically, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to thank all those that said, where you been, Greg? You haven't been online. Wow, we haven't seen you. You're usually on every day. So I'll be back to it. I got to get back in the groove. Got to get in the cadence. Right, Jer? Anyway, ask yourself, ask your team, when you have a waiting column, is it adding value? I bet you it's not. And challenge the team. These are what you bring. Is it adding value? Right? We got a waiting column. Does it describe a process? If your process involves waiting, I would challenge your process. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna add today. Today is Monday. Keep it late. Later on, we'll talk about some other stuff. I got a whole mess of stuff to talk about that I got to download to my calendar and bring them up as topics. I got a whole bunch of them and just got to take some time to write them all down. There's about a million of them in my head right now. It's probably why I haven't done the show, because I don't know which one to start with. So you just got to pick one, right? All right. Have a great day. Happy Scrumming. I wish you all the best, and take care, and see you soon. Bye. See ya.